Good morning, one and all. Hello, one and all. How are you? Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to another day. Another day in South Africa. Another day in lockdown. Please God, it should be a good day for us all. If you're joining us, good morning, Shirley Feldman. Welcome, welcome. People are logging in now, which is great. Shalom, David Tureki from Israel. You're keeping well and safe. Just while you're logging on. Oh, look who's joined us in Zoom. Hello. Morning, Jenny. Thank you for joining us. Marco Stein, good morning. Hope you're all keeping well. We are now live. Hello. Thank you, Hilly. Appreciate the feedback there about my mother's talk. Appreciate that. Thank you for being there. Ruth Captain, good morning. Robert Levy, good morning. Good to see everyone here. We are live on Facebook as well as on YouTube. So to all our viewers, welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining. Thank you for coming. Just give it a few minutes for people to log on. Norman, I see your question. I'll come to it in a second. Thank you, Felicia, for your feedback. Appreciate that. Okay. Robert Levy and Maureen, good morning. And once again, good morning to all our viewers on YouTube as well. Good to have you here. Thank you for joining. To all our viewers on YouTube, please say hello and share greetings as you log on. Thank you. No sound. Norman, no sound? I think there's sound. Just make sure of that, Norman. Anyone else having problems with their sound? Thank you, Manfred, for your feedback on last night's presentation. Charmaine Shatkin, nice to see you. Morning, Rabbi. I see people logging in as we speak, so that's fantastic. Mark, good morning. So Mark, can you hear me? Because Norman was saying that the sound is a little bit down. Just confirm that you can hear me. I'd appreciate that. Morning, Rob. Alan, thank you. Got sound. Good stuff. Sorry, good morning, Alan. Yes, hey, good to see you. Thank you. Long on again, the sound is good. Yeah, I appreciate that. Good to confirm. Thank you. If you are logging on YouTube, welcome aboard and say something, share with us, comment. We want to hear from you. Lovely to see everyone once again. Good morning, Steve. Good to hear about the sound. Thanks for the feedback. The earphones are doing well, so shkoyach for that. Okay, numbers are picking up. Let's just wait a couple of minutes or so, just for everyone else to join. Once we got our crowd, we're ready to go. Morning, Jaime and Linda. Good to see you here. Thank you for joining. Okay. Great. Okay, we're ready to go. Yes, Norman, thank you. I saw your question. So we're going to address that first, and then we'll go on to our topic. So Norman's question, Eitan Kofler, good morning. I hope the baby's keeping well. So welcome back. Okay, first of all, share this video with your friends. Please share it under your watch button, something called share. Please share this with your friends, and let's encourage other people to join us for our learning session. Thank you very much in advance. I appreciate your assistance in getting the word out. So to answer Norman's question earlier was that if a non-Jew, based on our conversations of yesterday, if a non-Jew doesn't have a bar mitzvah or a bat mitzvah, does that mean they don't get a neshama at some point? Because we said that the bar and bat mitzvah is when the neshama enters the body of the individual. And if you're not getting a neshama, then how do you get, then if you're not having a bar mitzvah or a bar mitzvah, how do you get the neshama that we spoke about? So to clarify this point, Norman, is that the terminology neshama represents a very, very high level revelation, a very concentrated level of revelation of God inside the person. That's the neshama. That high concentrated level of revelation is something that is unique only to a Yid, only to a Jew. Other creations, including Gentiles, don't have a neshama and will never get a neshama. As I said, the definition of a neshama is a highly concentrated revelation of godliness inside of them. That's uniquely allocated for a Yid, for a Jew. A non-Jew gets a divine sustenance of energy, chayut or chiyus, a life source of energy, a flow of energy, a flow of godliness that gives them life. Absolutely, they're creations of God. They're children of Hashem, and they get a source of sustenance. But the terminology neshama, defined as a highly condensed, highly concentrated revelation of godliness, is something unique to a Yid, to a Jew. Good morning, Gary. And therefore, good morning, Sherilyn. And therefore, what we spoke yesterday about the neshama coming in at a bar mitzvah and bat mitzvah, that is talking about a concentrated revelation of godliness. Concentrated, a heavy revelation of godliness comes into the boy or the girl, bar and bat mitzvah. What do they have before that? Before that, they have a revelation of godliness that gives them life and vitality, but it's not highly concentrated. It's not highly revealed. It's camouflaged. It's concealed. It goes into the bloodstream, but it's not there as a neshama is there. That only comes in a bar and bat mitzvah for a Yid, for a Jew or a Jewess. A non-Jew won't get such a revelation of the neshama inside. By the way, do you know why, once we're really back to this topic, do you know why a boy and girl only get the neshama and bar bat mitzvah? Even though we said yesterday that actually the process begins from before. The neshama starts to trickle in already from birth or from the bris for a boy, and it trickles in all the way till we get to the bar mitzvah and bar mitzvah and bat mitzvah. Why is it designed such a way? Why can't we get our neshama from the moment go, from birth? Why can't we get our neshama? Why do we rely on a subtle, camouflaged, concealed level of energy from age 0 to 12 or 13? Why can't we get that highly condensed, concentrated level in revelation from the age of 0, from the moment we're born? And the answer is that if we got it immediately, we wouldn't have any challenges in our lives. If we got our neshama from the moment go, there wouldn't be any dilemmas. There wouldn't be any conflict. There won't be any challenges in our lives. You know why? Because you got a neshama. You're part of God. And it's revealed, it's condensed, it's concentrated, it's heavy. It's so tangible that there's not even a dilemma in your life. There's not even a question in your life. God wanted us to have challenges. He wanted us to have challenges. So how does he create challenges? He holds back the neshama for a little bit. He holds back the neshama, holds back the soul. You no longer have that conscious revelation of godliness inside of you. If you can call the neshama conscious, I'm not sure. Maybe it's subconscious. You no longer have that revelation inside of you until bar bat mitzvah. So we're going to give a head start to the world. We're going to give a head start to physicality and the mundane. For the first 12 and 13 years, you're going to be living a life that doesn't necessarily have the tangible, concentrated neshama. You're living life with the world around you. And bar and bat mitzvah, when you're responsible now, we're going to give you a neshama. And now you got to battle it through. Now that you're used to 12 and 13 years of the world around you, the mundane, the material world around you, now you're giving your neshama. Now it becomes more of a test. Now it becomes more of a challenge. Now you're told, make choices, make decisions, think through things, choose good over bad. The challenge now begins in bar bat mitzvah. So that's why there's a delay, to make life challenging for us, which is exactly what God wants. Not everything easy or good comes easy. We got to go through that challenge. Once again, welcome to all our participants on Facebook, on YouTube. It's good to have everyone with us. Thank you for joining. If you are just logging in now, please do say hello to us and welcome yourself, or say hello, greetings. We'd love to hear from you, both on Facebook or on YouTube, just to say hi, just to say you're here. Or if you have any questions, post those questions in the chat box. We want to hear from you. Before I move on to the next subject, is there any questions that you may have with regards to today's discussion? Let me know before we move on. Okay, I'm going to get going here with our next point of discussion, and that is continuing the theme that we started a day or two ago, finding the neshama, the soul behind performances and behind rituals and behind the norm. Let's discuss the balance of two character traits. And this is relevant as well to Sfirat HaOmer, as it is to many other areas of Jewish practice. What we're doing during Sfirat HaOmer, we're counting the Sfira, and Gary Sachs, I see your question. It's a very good question. So maybe I'll address that first. Thank you for posing the question, Gary. What happens with converts? That's a good question. Let me answer that. If anyone else has any questions, please post them. Good morning, Philip from Cape Town. If anyone has questions, thank you, Gary, for posing your question. We're going to address that question now, actually, before we move on, because I think it's important to address that. If anyone has any other questions, you can feel free to post them in the chat box. We'd love to engage with you and connect with you and answer your questions too. So let's discuss that. What is with converts? So to answer that, let me share with you a statement which the sages share with us. The sages tell us, Ger shenidgayer, a convert who converts, ketinoik shenolad dami. That convert is compared to a brand new baby, brand new child. Morning, Hilton. It actually ties into the concept of lockdown. The concept of lockdown is that we should come out of lockdown like a brand new child, a brand new baby. That's what happens with converts. But look at the wording. The wording in the Talmud is ger shenitgayer, a convert who converts. Do you pick up on the nuance here? A convert who converts is an interesting terminology. Really, what the Torah should have said, or the Talmud should have said, is ger is goy shenitgayer, a non-Jew who converts, right? Because before conversion, the person is a non-Jew. So the non-Jew who converts. What is this thing about a convert who converts? Strange terminology. The answer is, and this answers Gary's question from earlier. Thank you, Gary, for posing your question. The answer is that the convert, before they converted, already had within them a neshama. Right, Mark, thank you for your question. I was told that a convert is more holy than a born Jew. Good, we'll come to that in a moment too. Thank you, Mark. The convert who converts, that terminology indicates. That indicates that this convert already had a stranger who converts. Not a stranger, yeah, a stranger, a non-Jew who converts. That's the correct terminology. Why do we say a convert who converts? So that's the question. Thank you for all your questions here, guys. It's fantastic. So the answer is that initially the convert already has a neshama in them. The neshama is concealed. As they're born with a Jewish spark. Many non-Jews are born with a Jewish spark in them. Many potential converts are born with a Jewish spark in them. But they don't always reveal it. They don't always expose it. They don't always touch it. Through conversion, a non-Jew who has the spark of a neshama inside of them, through conversion, they touch base with that spark. And suddenly they now expose a neshama that was there in hiding. And that's why we say that at Matan Torah, as we get closer to Shavuot, at Matan Torah, what happens at Matan Torah? Everyone came to Matan Torah. All Jews and Jewesses came to Matan Torah, and all future converts came to Matan Torah because they have inside of them a neshama. If they have inside of them a neshama, then they stand by Har Sinai. They stand by Mount Sinai ready to receive the Torah. And so that answers Gary's question. What happens with converts? Converts have the neshama inside of them. It's revealed and exposed within them at the moment of conversion. That's when it starts to be tangible and conscious or subconscious inside of their bodies for the moment of conversion. Mark Wachenheimer, you're told that a convert is more holy than a Jew. Absolutely. You know why? Because a convert chose to go this journey. A convert chose to reveal the neshama inside of them. That choice already makes them on a holier level. One who's born into Judaism is born into it, not necessarily by choice. But a convert who comes into Judaism by choice definitely has something unique to him or her, which the regular born Jew doesn't necessarily have. I want to take this opportunity to go and address one other point which ties into this, and that is Chasidei Umot HaOlam. Good morning, Dennis Solomons. Welcome aboard. Chasidei Umot HaOlam. What does it mean, Chasidei Umot HaOlam? It means the righteous Gentiles. Righteous Gentiles is a whole new category. And this is back to Norman Stain's question from the beginning. What happens with a non-Jew? So among the non-Jew, there is something called Chasidei Umot HaOlam. It actually ties in to the presentation that many of us watched last night called The Untold Truth, The Untold Story, which Mrs. Minna Stern, my mother, presented last night on Zoom. Because during the Holocaust, there were many non-Jews who assisted the Jewish people through their journey and escape. Brian Feinstein on YouTube. That's fantastic. Thank you for sharing. Good to see already participants. Thank you, Brian, for joining along on the YouTube stream. Thank you. Good morning. Good morning. Good to see you here. So these Chasidei Umot HaOlam, these righteous Gentiles who are involved in helping and hiding and saving Jewish people for the sake of God, for the sake of humanity, these are special people. And they get, according to our sages, they get a neshama. They have a neshama inside of them. God reveals himself in them, which maybe motivates them to do what they're doing. You know, who puts his life on the line to save a Jew? Which non-Jewish? Martin, thank you, Martin. Martin, you're becoming a regular. So nice to have you with us. Thank you, Martin, for joining. So, which person sacrifices their life for the sake of another religion? You know, these non-Jewish families who sacrifice their lives for the sake of Jewish children. Or non-Jewish family, we have a family in our community of the Borochovitz family, Mrs. Borochovitz, Aleha HaShalom. Mrs. Borochovitz was saved by her violin teacher, a non-Jewish man who saved her. And she escaped and built a new family in a new world. Who would put their life online for another religion or another stranger, another person? It wasn't heard of. Maybe in today's world it's more acceptable as we live more united as a collective body of humanity rather than Christians or Jews or Muslims all living apart. But in those days it was unheard of, especially that they had the choice of staying safe with their families without sacrificing themselves. Why would they sacrifice themselves? For the sake of a Jewish child, Jewish family. And they're called Chasidei Umot HaOlam. They get a neshama. They get a part of God like a Jew gets a part of God, a revealed, concentrated revelation of godliness. And by the way, as a result of that, it says that they also get a portion in Gan Eden and Olam Haba. In Gan Eden and Olam Haba, which is the life after life, which is really made for the Jewish people as a reward system to reward us for our good deeds during our lives. We have the world to come. The Chasidei Umot HaOlam, the righteous Gentiles, also get a portion in that world to come and Gan Eden. So they're a category of non-Jews who share the revelation of Judaism, of Torah, and of the Jewish people. Martin Siegel, welcome aboard, because it's good to have you here. Thank you for joining. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for posting. So that's great. Today's class has been running on questions, which is great. Thank you to Norman and to Gary and to Mark for sharing your comments and your questions. Anybody else would like to put a question forward? We can continue the theme by addressing your questions. Just feel free to post. Right, okay. So the chat seems to be taking some time. So let's go on with one other area, which is seemingly unconnected. We'll see afterwards if there's a connection. We're busy counting Sphira right now. And actually ties into yesterday's conversation, actually. For those who are part of yesterday's conversation, Wayne Miller asked a question yesterday. Why is it that everything Okay, we're back with you. Apologies for that. So yesterday, Wayne Miller asked a question regarding the right hand or the right. Why is the right always done first? If you remember that conversation. Dennis Solomons, wasn't Ruth the most famous convert? Exactly. And the mother of Mashiach, King David HaMelech. So why the right first? And I mentioned that the right is chesed, is kindness. And that's why in Judaism, we always do the right first. I'll come back to Norman's question in a moment. We always do the right first. So just to address that point, we're actually counting Sfirat HaOmer right now. And in Sfirat HaOmer, we address 7 attributes, 7 qualities of a person. And every week of the 7 weeks of counting the Omer, every week is allocated to another quality, another character trait, another tendency, another aspect of my behavior. And then also, back to our original question, that gives some neshama, it gives a life, it gives a soul to the counting. We're not just counting days. There's something fantastic about counting days too. We have to count days, absolutely, because that's exciting. We're building up to Matan Torah. But there's more than just counting days. We are busy working on ourselves and perfecting ourselves and improving ourselves. And that topic that Wayne mentioned yesterday about the right side being chesed and always focusing on the right side, that's an important topic in Judaism. Because in Judaism, we have the right, which represents kindness, and we have the left that represents strictness and discipline. And that's another area I wanted to touch upon. We don't have a lot of time today, so we'll start the conversation today, and we'll see how we go. In Judaism, many, many aspects of Judaism lend themselves to kind, love, and connection versus discipline, distance, and strictness. Take, for example, Shabbos. Shabbos is Shamor v'Zachor, b'dibur echad. There's 2 instructions regarding Shabbos. One instruction is observe the Shabbos and do the rituals and do the mitzvot and make kiddush and sit to a meal and etc. Go to shul if you can, laying for the Torah. These are positive, proactive mitzvahs. And then there are areas that are prohibitions. Don't do this and don't do that. They both come from chesed and gevura, kindness and strictness. So here's the insight. Why are we observing the Shabbos? There's many reasons to why we observe the Shabbos. But what's the outcome of observing Shabbos? One of the outcomes is we learn the balance of kindness, love versus discipline and strictness. Through observing the Shabbos, you become a better person. Through observing Shabbos, you become more controlled in your character traits and your characteristics. Through observing Shabbos, you become more in control, more aware of your qualities, of your character traits, of your tendencies. So Shabbos actually helps us in becoming a better person, not just a more frum or observant individual, following the laws of chesed and gevura, kindness and strictness, positive and negative, embrace and distance, actually makes me into a more refined individual. And that's one of the consciousness of Sfirat HaOmer, of counting the Omer. The first week we focused on Chesed. How do I make sure that my right hand, my attribute of Chesed, of kindness, is right? That I'm kind enough, I'm compassionate enough, I'm giving enough. The second week focused on Gevura, on strictness. How do I know that I am disciplined enough? I know how to get up on time. I know how to daven with structure. I know how to observe Shabbos with structure. I know how to keep a distance when I need to keep a distance. That's the second week where I focus on Gevura, on strength and strictness. Happens to be that now we've entered the third week. Today we're counting 15 to the Omer. So we've now entered the third week of Sfirat Omer. It's called Tiferet, which is actually the balance of both together. Somehow balancing kindness and strictness side by side. With God, do I have a loving relationship with God or a reverent relationship with God? Do I have a loving relationship with my spouse? Am I close and loving and romantic and connected? Or am I strict and distanced when I need to be? That's the message of the balance of emotions. This is a massive topic which we'll elaborate on in due course. But just to show you another insight into the neshama, into the spark of so many of our rituals. To address Norman's question, a young child who dies, what neshama goes to heaven, to Gan Eden? It's a very, very good question. Because you're basically asking if the neshama hasn't yet entered the body before bar and bat mitzvah, what neshama goes to Gan Eden? Fantastic, fantastic question. So I think the answer to that is that we did explain that the neshama starts the process. The neshama does enter the body from the moment of birth and or the bris, and it trickles into the body slowly but surely as the child gets older and moves closer to bar and bat mitzvah. And therefore, there is a neshama that's been allocated to this particular child. The neshama may not have fully entered the body, but the neshama exists. It exists in the spiritual realms. It hasn't yet been permeated and entered into the physical body. And so, God forbid, when the child passes on before bar and bat mitzvah, that child still has a neshama allocated to it, associated to it. Maybe not fully in the body, but it's there. It's there and connected. Just by the way, while I mentioned that, because I think this will help you, Norman, understand this point. Good morning, Gabriella. To understand Norman's point, just to elaborate, even the neshama that we have inside of us doesn't fully enter our bodies either. Our neshama partially enters our body and partially remains as a spiritual entity hovering over us. The reason it does that is because the neshama that way can hold on to God. If my neshama was entirely inside of me, it would lose touch with its source. Because my neshama partially comes into me and partially is out of me, that's how the neshama still sustains its relationship with Hashem. And so that explains the child. In a way, we're similar to the children because our neshama also is not fully in us. It's partially in the spiritual, partially inside of us. By a child, it's just more in the spiritual. It hasn't yet permeated their body just yet. It takes time till bar and bat mitzvah. So God forbid if the child does pass on, the neshama is still his or her neshama. Philip, you ask, can this be proven? How can you prove this? There's no way to prove this, Philip. It's a matter of belief. It's a matter of faith. Our teachers have taught us this. Our Kabbalists and mystics have taught us this in the teachings of the Hasidic philosophy and the books of Hasidism and Kabbalah. We're relying on them. We're trusting them. Very, very difficult to prove matters of a neshama. From time to time, you can prove a neshama. For example, at the moment of birth, when you see a baby born, that's like a neshama revelation. Or in contrast, when the person passes away on their deathbed, that's a neshama revelation, a transition. But I think you're asking, how do I prove the child point of the neshama, and the neshama that's in the body and out of the body, that's not so easy to prove. That's matters that we rely on our mystics and our teachers who enlighten us and teach us. We got to rely on them and accept it with faith and emunah, as difficult as sometimes as it is. Although I think knowing more of this is better than knowing less of this, or being taught more of this is better than being taught less of this. So I think we're coming to the end of our discussion for today. I'm happy to take any further questions. If there are further questions or comments, feel free to post them. I'll be happy to engage and hear from you. Let me know. Thank you. Okay, good, Philip. I'm happy I was able to answer your question, even though I didn't fully answer your question. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a wonderful week. We've had 5 days, consistent 5 days. Sunday, 6 days, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. 6 consistent days of learning at 10:30 today. Thank you, Norman. 6 consistent days of learning. Well done to you for following this. We've had a great following on Facebook, a nice following on YouTube. So we got a good following generally, so that's fantastic. Well done, Mark. Thank you very much. I wish you all a Shabbat Shalom. And please God, it should be one of health, of sustenance, of God's blessings. And we've cleaned the soul before receiving the Torah. That's right. That's exactly what we said. We're cleaning the soul during Sfirat HaOmer. God bless you all. Have a wonderful Shabbos. Shabbat Shalom. We have a fantastic program on. Okay. Michael Stein, thank you. You and I are thinking alike here. Do we have to register for Kabbalat Shabbat or just go on Zoom? So I'm going to post it. To answer your question, it's just easier if you register. You'll get an email confirmation. So let me just post it. If you go to sidshul.koza, I'm posting the link. We have a great program lined up for this afternoon. Let's see if I can post the link. Here we go. No, post. No, okay. So we got a great program lined up, a great Kabbalat Shabbat. If you want to, there's the poster. There you go. So if you want to join our Kabbalat Shabbat on Zoom, pre-Shabbos Kabbalat Shabbat, best is to register, Michael. To be honest, we will send out the link a little bit later, but we just want to know where we're holding and how many people we're expecting. So it's just easiest to go register. It's very, very easy. But otherwise, the link will be shared a bit later on our WhatsApp groups. So that's also okay. I don't have Zoom. Is there an alternative? Linda, there is going to be an alternative. There's going to be a YouTube streaming of the Kabbalat Shabbat. I just need you to message me. You know what? Good question. I think if you search Sidlam Shul on YouTube, you'll get to the YouTube live link at 4:30. Search Sidlam Shul on YouTube, and you'll find the link there. While we get going. Okay. Thank you, Jenny, for the feedback. Appreciate that. Thank you for the morning learning sessions. I appreciate that. Thank you, Jenny. Thank you for joining us. Shabbos to one and all. And as I said, 4:30 Kabbalat Shabbat live on Zoom and YouTube. And we'd love to have as many people there as possible. Benny Friedman will be joining us. Rabbi Lawrence Perez from Israel will be joining us. So we look forward to a fantastic program and see you there in just a few hours' time. God bless and Shabbat Shalom.